Well, we weren't talking, so let's see if they're going up now. Okay, chat, can you hear us?
Hey.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Shout outs to our restreamer Alchemy. On top of the Discord dumpster fire that's going on, we had some OBS fires, but Alchemy's pushed through them great. But while our runners are doing this looting, y'all kind of know what's going on. I just want to reintroduce, because y'all didn't hear my introduction. I'm Zoe Vermillion, and I'm joined by the wonderful Estone Dingley here in the commentary booth. And Dingley, you were taking some notes. Do you want to just briefly run through some of the things that we talked about?
Well, we talked a little bit about the flag set, the looting. We talked about getting that Baron key and all those nice objectives that let us get character checks, including the package, Sand Ruby, Zot, and the Falcon. We talked a little bit about going to see Bedward, looting the treasury, and now we're about to watch another one of the first early key item checks.
Yeah, that is the best TLDH I've ever heard. But yes, absolutely. One big thing is that none of the objectives that are on the table today are on the moon or in a summon spot aside from the Odin spot. So we could be looking at a potential Jet Seed today, depending on how the key items lay out. We could also see Team Nevermoon coming in and representing in the first restream of the Adamant Cup. And there's an Asura.
Not always who you want to see this early, but I think I saw someone pick up an Elven Bow at some point. I don't know if that was Firebird or Techno. It would definitely be useful here.
Stardust Rod also very useful. If you can keep her off of Cure 4-ing, 2 Stardust Rods will take this out. It's 834 damage. Just a little bit more in this spot will be done, but there's the Cure 4.
Sometimes it's only about 1,000 HP spot, so you're really tempted to just push through and see if you can attack as fast as possible, but then sometimes you just get that Cure 4 face.
Yeah. All right, we're back where we were. Let's see how this goes. And just trying to push through damage and keep her off of her action.
And there we go.
Well done by Technolink. Let's see what our first non-Bedward key item is here.
And that's a magma.
I heard you like early underground.
And we were just discussing how on a seed where you have to do the hook route for the Launch the Falcon objective, maybe you don't really want to see the magma key early, because now the hook could be anywhere.
Absolutely. And notice FirebirdLover has an Artemis Bow and mute arrows, so there goes Asura. That was fast.
I blinked. I missed it.
2,652 damage. That is what we would call an overkill if we were playing Final Fantasy X.
And here we just call it really fast.
Very efficient.
Good job.
And FBL looks like has a Final Fantasy VI naming scheme going on with Celeste as Rosa and Strago for Tella. Pandering to me in particular, Final Fantasy VI being my favorite game of all time.
Gotta get in on that Pixel remaster hype.
Oh, I've already bought it. I just haven't got a chance to play it yet. I've been practicing for this tournament. But more mages here. We got the Maga Sisters at Fabul. This Stardust Rod will actually do plenty of work. It will take care of the entire encounter.
Could be pretty easy splitting the damage between the three of them. And we see another bit of divergence here. We have FirebirdLover going straight underground with that magnet key instead of going to check the rest of the overworld.
Yeah, I actually like this. With this flag set, you don't want to be triple dipping Fabul. It's not the worst, but you can put off a Fabul check. And right now, if FBL goes and checks the Sheila 1, like goes and sets up Sheila 1, then you're only double dipping Fabul at the worst case. But also maybe you pull a Pan from the Feymarch freebie. Maybe there's a King Queen Evelyn in one of the summon spots. You got quite a bit that can go right, and you get access to the underground looting and the underground shops. So in a flag set where 7 of 7 completion is routinely pushing you 145, 2 hours, 215, getting down early and getting any extra gear you can to speed it up is going to help. It's going to pay dividends over the course of the seed.
And of course, with S standard on, that means there are a lot of powerful J items in shops, including sirens. So that coffin that they pulled from the treasury in Troya, that could just be free experience to help boost them along the early game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can get this Rose up to where she's got Berserk. You got that Artemis bow, and then she can just start self-zerking and plowing through enemies. That's really kind of what I would be looking at here. FBL, I didn't see if FBL checked to see that it was a Yang up on Hobbs, but Yang is a character that gets really good late game, but early and mid game kind of struggles. So in a seed, and in a flag set with party 4, you're not going to see a ton of Yang usage.
Especially with this good of loot, there's not a lot of items you can put on Yang that makes him a lot more powerful. So if you find a Kane or a Cecil or an Edge, they're a little more tempting.
Yeah, he gets the majority of his damage from his levels, and the multipliers from gear do also help. We did find a Zeus Gauntlet. That would help Yang, but it would also help, as you said, a Kane, a Cecil, or an Edge. Even a Sid can make better use of that Zeus Gauntlet in the early game than a Yang can.
Well, and we still have not seen the character at Baron Inn, and we have the Baron Castle check since we started with that key.
Yeah, absolutely. FBL has found the encounter chest here in the Feymarch, so it gets the rest of this looting for free. Heroine robe to go along with that Artemis bow.
Nice.
Oh, this Rosa is about to be the best archer you have ever seen. Especially once we get done with the Fabul check, because that reward seemed like a womp on Technolink side. It was Samurai arrows. But since we're only rocking mute arrows on FirebirdLover side, Samurai arrows are a good upgrade to go along with this sort of archer res we got.
Yes, we've had 2 sort of zonks so far, which means slightly more likely every time we don't find a key item in one of these chests that we have to go to the moon. Ooh, the pan!
I'm a witch! I'm a witch!
That is a great find if you have not done Fabul yet.
Yeah, there we go. That is what you look for. That is the payoff for diving underground early, and I'm glad to see it happen. Oh, that's great. Yeah, you get to now single dip Fabul. You're going to get a total of 4 key items for 1 trip to Fabul and 1 trip to Sylph Cave. That is going to feel good. Well, 4 key item checks, I should say.
Yeah, with the K summon on, of course, that bonk does give you a check, and it could open up this seed quite a bit if we find the key items that we are looking for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We need 8 key items total. We have 1 of them already, so 7 more. Seems like a lot, but things can start to snowball very, very quickly. Ooh. That Goldbez is not the hardest thing right now.
That is true. The Leviathan spot, while it punches crazy hard, does not have that high of magic.
Yeah, it'd be very slow. If it was in the Asura spot, I would have taken it like hands down, because Goldbez at Asura, only 2 members of my party. That is basically the freest Goldbez you'll see.
And that is the one downside to checking down there early, is that if those bosses are not too hard, but you can't do them now, you're gonna have to come back later to check them out.
Yeah. Question from chat: how hard is CPU at Asura? CPU in any spot is not particularly hard. It only does HP based damage, and if you can take out the healer, that's all you have to contend with. It's just a matter of how much HP does the spot have and how quickly can you kill the CPU. And at that spot right now, it's not the worst, but it's slow. Very slow. Even if you get a party right now, it would be kind of slow. When we can come back, we're hitting for 2 or 3K a swing. That's when it starts to become more manageable.
Ooh, we see we got Kane in the Baron Inn, and we pick up another power shirt. This is looking like a good fighter Z.
Yeah, this early flag set here, the groups, definitely favors your melee fighters with the high loot potential and the lack of slingshot, because we only have party 4. Slingshot does require 5 party members, so you can't take a Rydia or take a Palom and slingshot them all the way to nuke by doing like a D machine grind. So getting those power shirts is going to make this seed considerably easier as we start to rack up melee fighters like this Yang and this Kane here at Baron Inn.
And this Mom Bomb is not who you want to see in a spot with such low HP normally. Now you've either got to burn down that extra several thousand HP or just wait for him to split.
Several thousand? Try 9,000. It's it is a amount of HP that if you find it in the ribbon room, you're like, I don't care. That's not that much more. You find it here at a spot that has like 500 hit points, you're like, why? There's no way I'm going to be able to do this. I'm just going to wait and then use my Stardust Rod and get rid of these guys.
Ooh, another required key item down at the Stilth Cave.
There we go. Red Tail need a hook to turn it in, but not too shabby.
And there is Yang showing off the usefulness of Kick.
Yep, Kick can come in handy. Absolutely. And is this even?
We have a mirror match, everybody.
Yang pointing at Yang.png. This isn't that bad. You have a bit of a fast anchor here in Yang, so this karate is going to be going pretty slow. He will likely one-shot your Rosa if he melee swings at her, and his kicks are going to hurt quite a bit. Goodbye, Tella. But it's only 4,000 hit points. If you can win the battle of attrition, you'll get this Kane and this key item check.
The thing I'd be worried most about is just the Kick kind of slowly draining away the HP of the people who could take a hit. So this could still be tricky. It takes a bit of effort here to make this work. And once FirebirdLover gets to this spot, probably have a little bit easier time with all that extra armor, like the heroin rope that they picked up.
Yeah, absolutely. And this Yang, though, doing over 600 damage with each power punch is not too shabby for an early game Yang. That power shirt definitely helping out with those multipliers. And this should be the last Stardust we need. Oh, no. Looks like we need one more hit. There it is. Ooh.
Music!
Music. Now, what are your thoughts on music in this flag set, Dingley?
I tend to be a almost never music kind of guy, but when you have so many objectives here on Earth, I think I'd rather do it than the moon at this point.
Yeah, if it comes down to going moon or the harp, it depends on my party. If I'm feeling like I can blow up the moon, I'll go moon. But if not, if I'm feeling a little bit nervous about it, I'm going to try and full clear Earth. So I'll do music. The good thing about music is it's K-main. It's a K-main location, so it's higher weighted than your moon spots as far as getting key items is concerned. Plus, if you don't have a pass, if you can pull the pass from there, you just come out time neutral, which is like the best case scenario outside of getting a required key item out of there.
100%. Now we get a chance to see the pan. We have the Luca key, so more items on Earth, but not the one we were looking for.
Well,
and Earth Crystal.
That is required. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, we have so many checks to make for characters right now. I'm just wondering who's going to find the Foo first.
Yeah, early Foo, especially if you roll nicely and he gets early nuke, can really speed up your seed. Getting an early Cecil isn't too bad, especially if you have a way of doing some AoE damage. The encounter chest in Castle Evelyn almost always you're almost always going to leave with either an adamant armor or one of the two holy swords, just based off how the weighting works. And so that can be a really good early check if you do end up with, say, a Fu or even a Palom that you've gotten to Quake. But at this point, FBL hasn't even checked Hobbs to see that there's the Yang there, or at least didn't pick up the Yang. But with this Heron Robe, Artemis Bow, Rosa, I'm looking at Zot and going, that's doable, that's required, and that's 2 characters.
Right, you've got to be feeling confident. And of course, with a Tella in the party, Mount Ordeals, even though it is a long trek with 3 bosses, it's still a check, and you can get those extra spells.
Yeah. Ordeals in this flag set, and group flag set in particular, has 2 main draws for me. It powers up my Cecil, and it gets Fu 3 bosses worth of spells. I like to fade Ordeals quite a bit in this flag set unless I can blow it up very quickly, because it is 3 bosses for only 1 key item check, and there is the small cutscene, and we're all here to play fast. Cutscenes are slow.
Agreed. Ordeals, it's a little less appealing especially if you have that Magma key, so you're not worried about checking all over the overworld for that hidden key. You have so much open to you right now. Unless you really come in here for the Tella, it's not, it's not necessarily everybody's first choice.
Yeah,
that power-up Tella does let you do a lot of those other places much easier.
Yeah, and Moonblaze Wolf in the chat pointing out something here. FBL is smartly not using the aim command with Rosa in the middle slot. Do you want to explain why that would be a bad idea to do so?
Sure. My best understanding of it is that aim gives you maximum accuracy, 255, and being in the middle slot gives you a bonus to accuracy of, 25%?
I think it's 20.
And once you do that, once you go over the maximum, it resets back to very low.
Yeah, so you end up with about a 50 to your accuracy score, which is not super great. So it's 25%. I've heard both back and forth. 25%. I'm going to trust Plumeria Knight over myself here. You'll end up with like 60 something, which is again not great.
I think we've all been in that spot where we had Rosa in the middle and we're wondering why she wasn't doing so much damage.
But FBL is now here in Baron Inn, gonna try and get this cane. Gonna have a easier time, but it's not going to it's gonna be an easier time, but I don't know if it's gonna be considerably faster considering this bomb you have to sit through.
And meanwhile, Technolink is taking the Dark Elf back attack. Not a terribly scary boss to see here.
No, not at all. Dark Elf, notably interesting for the second phase, not having the boss bit, so being vulnerable to stuff like weak and stop. Not going to be taking advantage of too much of that here, but also has a weakness to holy, so if we had any white arrows, that could come in handy here as well. Can turn Yang into an adorable little piggy who's doing a dance. And get that piggy off just to allow the use of power. And there we go. Tella is going to stop this here, and it's probably just to kind of stymie the bleeding. This spot doesn't do a terrible amount of damage, but it's doing just enough to make this a bit uncomfortable for Technolink.
Yeah, it does punch fairly hard, and, it doesn't give nothing for experience, so it's nice to have those characters up to get that little extra power.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. It's just going to have Tella bonk. I don't hate that. And there we go. We're getting the crumble animation here. Now, I'm just going to call this out because something that I like to do. You're going to see it throughout the tournament. You're going to see some runners pause and unpause very quickly when defeating a boss that crumbles. That is purely to stop the sound effect because some of us have heard it thousands upon thousands of times and we're just tired of it. Technolink, not one of those runners yet. Ooh, samurai arrows.
Excellent. And charm arrows never hurt if you want to go check out some of those ogre chests.
Buying a big stack of both. I don't necessarily think I would buy a big stack of charm arrows here. Probably just a 10 stack, but that 60 stack of samurai arrows allows you to berserk and not worry about dying early on, because complications with the way the arrows work. If you're berserked, you don't use your last arrow, but if you die, then you'll lose it. Um, so yeah, having a big stack of 60 is not bad at all.
Definitely. And over on the Technolink side, we see it is just a strength ring. That is unfortunate. And a pretty easy boss at a pretty easy spot.
Yeah, you don't like seeing this this boss here. Because this is what we consider a free fight. You have a coffin, you can take out the officer, and the soldiers just beat themselves up. Or if you beat up all 3 soldiers and the officer just leaves. It's what we in the community call a free fight. And this spot itself only has about 1,000 hit points, so it's just not a good mix if you're hoping for some easy bosses later on. That was a long sentence to say just that.
You know, when you want to see those free bosses up on the moon, because if you've got to go there, you want it to be easy.
Oh yeah, you want to see your officer soldier, your king, queen, Evelyn. Sometimes your baron guards, they can be a bit punchy and annoying. Your water hag can be a bit punchy and annoying, but all of those are what we consider to be free fights. Dolls, the Calbrana dolls, to some extent, are a free fight. DKC as well. Ooh, FBL finding a cursed ring here in the shop. I don't know which shop this is. That is a nice find. Sets you up to basically pick who your anchor is at the end of the game for your agility setup.
That is always nice to not have to worry about either keeping somebody down or heading back to Mysidia to pick up a low-level character, so just agility anchoring is now free.
Yeah, I found myself in this flag set. There's been one instance where I've even anchored a Rosa for my Z fight, and that just proves like how weird the party compositions can get when you only have 4 party members that I was anchoring Rosa of all people.
Yes, and I think we mentioned that when we weren't being aired, but this is a race where there are only 4 characters per team, so we do not get the traditional 5th character, which has led to some interesting decisions when it comes to things like anchoring, who to take, and for the Z fight.
Yeah, absolutely, and it turns off slingshotting, the slingshot mechanic, which gets you double experience if you're a certain amount behind your other party members. It requires 5 party members, so that is not on. FBL cast exit to get past the Troya lady. I love that bit of a passive aggressive exit cast. I can just imagine Tella sitting there with a grumpy look on his face going, silly conflabbit blast that kids.
Oh, and we have our first treasury check.
Ooh. Oh, Amura and Amasa. Let's see if we can find an edge to use that Hanzo steel. And a full moon to back row.
A moon veil, that could be useful. Bahamut.
Another Zeus gauntlet. Artemis arrows to go with that Artemis bow and heroine robe. There we go. That made it worth it. If you can find an edge, it's even more worth it. I'm going to call that stabby things out of 10.
100% agreed. This is one of the few flag sets where you're just a little disappointed that you didn't pull maybe something bigger, but like you said, it's max tier 7, right? So
yep.
You're not going to find an adamant armor there or a crystal sword, because those have been upgraded to tier 8. But
yeah. Did find a protect ring, did find a crystal ring. Both of those are very good defensively, as well as the crystal ring providing a unique benefit of +5 agility on an accessory, as well as the good defenses. So definitely not too shabby offensive or defensive wise. Maybe you wanted a better cane weapon, like a defense sword, an Avenger, a Dragoon Spear, or a White Spear, but you know what? If we get to the top of this tower and there's an edge, you're just going to probably get rid of either the Yang or the cane and go, welcome aboard, my friend.
And considering all of the great gear we have for Archer Rosa, might even be willing to take a Porum or something just to get a little more White Mage power.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate taking a Porum here, especially over something like the Yang or the Tella.
Yeah, once you have that cursed ring, Tella becomes a little less useful because you don't really need him for an anchor anymore.
Yeah, his utility spells are still very, very good, but one of the best ones will be Berserk, and Rosa will have it soon enough to Berserk herself. So, the value of Tella kind of starts to drop off very quickly in this flag set.
And it looks like FirebirdLover is looking for the trap chest in Zot. Could be our first chance to see some of that superpower gear.
Flame Dog is a very easy encounter to clear, and it doesn't have the greatest chances of having something like a tier 7 or tier 8 loot, but it can happen. Shout outs to, I believe it was Lallyho League Swiss, Scythe Marshal versus Poydrak. That Scythe Marshal pulled a crystal sword from the Flame Dog chest and it determined the race. So yeah, don't sleep on the Flame Dog chest. I personally only take one chest when looking for it, and it's that one that's kind of right there on the path. But if you want to take that first one as well, more power to you.
And it looks like they just weren't interested in checking all those other chests. Or maybe, oh wait, maybe they're going back to check them. Oh, and we have a Nope Noodle as the first boss fight over at Dwarf Castle.
Ooh, this is not going to be the friendliest. I actually don't think that I would have the guts to take Dwarf at this point. So Technolink is braver than I, to be sure. But we'll see if it pays off. You got to get through about 8,000 hit points here and deal with the double waves and some melee hits, but you're not going to be taking blaze counters because you don't really have any black mages here. As long as Tella's not going to try and cast anything very silly.
Yeah, Rosa being down makes this more difficult because you need a lot of healing to get over all of those waves he's sending your way.
Yeah, there's the Flame Dog chest, and down it goes. Let's see if this pays off with something big. Second Masa, if you can find that edge, you'll have double Masamune. That's pretty good.
It's a little bit of supply and demand. You got 2 ninja swords already, so you like it, but you don't love it.
Yeah, you would have liked to see it like a cane weapon or the ever fabulous adamant armor, which, if you couldn't tell by the name of the tournament and the fact that we've been talking about it, this tournament, the No Adamants flag is off. Adamant armors do exist in the seeds for the first time since I think ZZ1? ZZ2 maybe?
I've not been around that long, so this is
Neither have I.
Totally new for me. And it's amazing how much difference it can make if they do find one.
Can make quite a bit of difference, yeah. And DKC here, Pain Man, shoutouts to Pidge. This shouldn't be too terrible.
It looks like slow enough that you have a chance to heal, but it does look like you will need to heal to get through each wave.
Yeah, this spot has very low agility, so having this Rosa stacked up with a bunch of agility gear is good, but that agility gear comes with a cost, and it's your white magic skill. So bust out the Cure 2 potions, because that Cure 2 healed for double digits on everybody, and low double digits.
Meanwhile, Technolink had a bit of a setback over at Ogopogo, and that was a difficult fight. So I absolutely see going over to Baron, maybe taking a little more experience, getting another character check, and you'll also be able to peek down in the basement, because you're going to have to take that at some point.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that Technolink hasn't done here that I would have done would be to check my freebies, because you would have found that pan, which would have led you into that Earth Crystal, which could have led you into that Treasury. But, routing's up to each individual runner. It's hard to say what's right, what's wrong. Maybe he gets that at a more opportune time. We'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. And as we noted, the bosses down there, the Goldbez and the CPU, are perfectly takeable. So when he eventually goes down there, he might be able to take those 2 summon spots and find something good.
Yeah, absolutely. And save the time to have him double back, and leaves one noodle and comes back and remembers, oh, right, here's the other noodle. While Leviathan goes ahead and hits with a wave, only doing 25% compared to Ogopogo's 50%, so that's not too bad.
It'll feel cathartic, I think, to knock this noodle down a peg.
Ooh, Thunderclaw. Yang doing some damage.
Do not even need that Lit 3 from Tella.
No, but it's going to go ahead and use that Stardust Rod. I like that over using the Lit 3. One more good punch should have this fight done.
And while they're working on that, we get to see at least the first character and the second boss over at Dwarf Castle.
There's the edge. Oh, that has to feel good. But Blue Robe at Dwarf 2, that's equal chances of being a Water Hag or the Alt Gauntlet.
That will either be very fast or annoyingly slow.
Yep. And I'm personally not a huge fan of the Dwarf Castle check in this flag set because it's 2 bosses with no boss hunts and a fairly long cutscene for just the 1 key item. Similar to Ordeals, I'll even do Keyless Tower before I do Dwarf. So it'll be interesting to see when we get around to seeing whether that is alt gauntlet or not. But I imagine this edge is coming right into the party and going to be equipped with 2 Masamunes. And yep, there goes Yang. Goodbye, my friend.
Goodbye, Sabin. And we're not taking that Palom because it does look like we're focusing more on the melee.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, you've got a perfectly viable endgame team. Go ahead and use that full moon to back row glitch edge. That back row glitch is available in the group flags. It will not be available in brackets. It's one of the beta changes that is now a toggle, just like all of our other glitches. Going ahead with the Ninja Shirt, and Zeus Gauntlet. Does FirebirdLover not have that power shirt that Technolink has?
I thought they both managed to pick one up.
Maybe it's just on Kane and doesn't want to spend the extra time in the menu, which I agree with.
And we saw Technolink side that Odin had been upgraded to proper King of Baron and already lost his spot.
Yeah, wow, that Thunderclaw is doing a lot of work for Technolink. And there's the Fusoya. So one side finds the edge in a free fight. The other side finds Fusoya. We've got a race here. FBL has done more checks and now has a good party comp, but Nuke solves a lot of problems.
Absolutely. And since Baron Key was our starting item, you start to think, well, who did my opponent go there first and get a very early food? Because Leviathan is very doable. And Odin, I mean, if you've got the lightning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Completely agreed. But now I wonder, do you peek who the Baron Castle basement throne boss is? Because that's one of your objectives. And let's see what's here in the pot.
Wow. Lots of payoff today.
All right, so we now have knowledge of our Rat Tail, our package, our Baron Key, and our Earth Crystal. So we still need to know up here in the booth where both pieces of Forge are, where the hook is, and where the Sand Ruby is.
Well, we just found the hook.
There's the hook. All right, so we don't need to worry about the hook. That actually gets FBL access to 2 objectives with the Rat Tail and launching the Falcon. So now, Sand Ruby and Forge, and we as commentators are in no mode. Well, aside from a Z axis, I suppose.
And wherever the Sand Ruby is.
Yes, correct. But yeah, we have FBL is on the board, having completed the Tower of Zot. So first objective here, that 6 being lit up here with our new fantastic tracker. Shoutouts to Scarlet Kitty for the design work, Solaris and Uhu for doing some behind-the-scenes code work, and shoutouts to Neobari for giving us the idea for this new way of doing the objectives, discarding the old orbs and now having these sort of numbers on the side. It's very clean looking, and I absolutely love it. Well,
there's your moon access.
There's your moon access. Okay, the pieces of the puzzle are coming together. Solaris saying 100% Uhu for the layout this time around. Well, you still do a lot of work, Solaris, behind the scenes, so you still get a shout out.
And we
I love it. Come on, Hovercraft. You're coming with me. I'm going to go do Ordeals real quick.
And I was going to say, we've seen a lot of key items today, but we've not found the one that would make that bard super useful. We have not found the spoon.
Yeah, and as I mentioned in the commentary that was never heard, doing that package now means when you go to turn in the Sand Ruby, you have to go through the rest of the cutscene, including the boss fight, to get that Edward. So doing it before Sand Ruby is a bit of a time loss. If it had been a character that you really wanted to keep, like say a Cecil, I could definitely see it, but this may backfire a bit and lose Technolink, anywhere from a minute to a minute and a half later on in the race.
Oh, and we are getting some music.
Oh boy. I'm loving the absolutely divergent routes our 2 runners are taking here today.
And if Technolink finds something good here, that may not be a check that FirebirdLover makes, because this is quite long, and they have a lot of other checks that they could do.
Yeah, including a wide open moon for them with, if you can pull an adamant armor at some point or grab your pink tail, this edge with 2 Masamunes and adamant armor will be doing a ton of work. And even that food that I imagine he's going to go get soon enough, just because it is Baron Key, it is sitting there waiting for you, and you can just tear it up with this party.
And as we know, it is doubly required. And we still don't know who's going to be at the Baron Basement Throne, though.
Yep, still don't have that knowledge. But Technolink going to go ahead and get that Stardust Rod equipped on his Foo here. Get some gear like the Gaia hat, which is the best Black Mage hat that you can wear if you're not exactly Rydia, which is unfortunate, but that's just how the gear curve works in Final Fantasy IV.
While we listen to music, FirebirdLover is making their way quickly through Ordeals. Going to be a little disappointed in that strength ring.
Yeah, I mean, you got a Zeus Gauntlet. A strength ring isn't going to be terrible, and if and when you do find this Foo, the extra spells will be nice. But yeah, you're going to feel a bit like, well, shucks.
And we will be being quiet for a little bit once this Dark Elf takes down Technolink's party, because we're going to get some lovely harp music.
Yep, DJ Spoonie B's first performance of the Adamant Cup coming at you live here on twitch.tv/freeenterprise. Like and subscribe, comment below. Wrong platform. And we are through that plague. It was a little bit close there, but Zerkostrats get us through without problems.
Yeah, that was close. Really pulled that one out, because Plague is one of those bosses where it doesn't matter if you got a Foo or a Crystal Sword.
Oh!
Wow. Okay, not a key item, but a lovely thing to find.
Holy moly! Sorry for being loud, chat. But yeah, slapping it on that Yang, I don't hate that right now. I would probably slap it on the Foo myself, but that's just me. But oh boy, while I try and come down from that adrenaline rush, Seven Saga being the music, which was done by our resident workshop helper Xenacat, who does all of our music now, and was a request from a community member, Mike34. So good request, great port, fantastic song.
Yes, and with that adamant armor now, probably going to feel very comfortable when they eventually, when Technolink does go down to the Fey March in taking those bosses on.
Yeah, that adamant armor will make you immune to death from Goldbez and make all of his elemental spells hit for basically 1 damage. Virus will still do a bit of damage, but that Leviathan spot doesn't have particularly high magic power, so tossing it on an HP sponge like Yang could pay off, especially if you have access to a Fire Claw. Goldbez is weak to fire, but otherwise you could just zerk up your Yang and have at it.
Might throw on a moon veil or something like that and just get through it real smooth.
Yep.
Ooh, and it looks like FirebirdLover is checking out the hook route, so we get one more character and another objective.
Yeah, you've got a double massa edge here. I feel like you can take whatever's here. Sid makes a good anchor, arguably a better anchor than Tella, just because you can get him levels, and even without a curse string, you can still be a very viable anchor here. I'd take him for a bigger HP pool, but sometimes you want that Tella for an anchor that can also cure 4.
Yes, and without finding that Fu yet, you might still want Tella's utility spells.
Very, very true. Technolink has come back to try and get revenge on the Ogopogo. Gonna go ahead and zerk up this Yang here with the Adamant Armor. These waves will still be doing the percentage-based HP. Adamant Armor does not stop that. But those melee hits will be hitting considerably weaker than they were before.
Yes, with the Fu, with the Adamant Armor, and with the added levels, Ogopogo should be mincemeat, or perhaps some kind of chopped up pasta. Ziti?
Rigatoni?
Yeah, something with tubes.
Yeah. Hitting for about 1,000 off that Zerked Yang. A handful more swings and you will be through. And onto that blue robe that we know of thanks to FirebirdLover. And this party, if you don't have Quake on Fu, don't quite have a lot of good AoE, but hopefully we've got either Quake or even a virus will probably be serviceable here.
I'm personally hoping that we have to go to the moon and see the alt gauntlet somewhere very rude.
Oh gosh, you're one of those. I like to wish nice things on my racers.
Whenever I had a chance in Enterprise Legacy, I always tried to make alt gauntlet an objective.
I am aware. As the one who fielded those requests, I am very aware.
And we're going to get our first look at the two bosses along the hook route in just a little bit. Both runners will have to go through here because, again, for this tournament, all 7 objectives are required to get the crystal to fight Z.
Yeah, no 4 out of 5 this time. It is 7 out of 7. We're looking for high completion percentage and avoiding what has become commonplace. We're trying to see if maybe increasing the number of objectives, making them all required, reduces the chances of the race getting just tilted completely one direction from a single lucky check. There's still gambles we made. There's still ways to, make up time. Sometimes you want sometimes you want a bit more of a consistent experience. I think that's what this flag set aims to deliver.
100% agreed. And it is maybe the more unfortunate of the two for Technolink. We have the alt gauntlet.
Yeah, not the worst. If this pays off with a piece of the Forge or the Sand Ruby, then it's going to end up being required anyway. But barring that, just like with Twin Harp, you're hoping for something like a pass. I doubt we're going to stumble into another Adamant Armor, but who knows?
And on the other side, FirebirdLover is fighting one of the ruder bosses you can fight at this spot.
Yeah, Evil Wall here, very punchy, very quick. But fortunately, that Heroine Robe does give you a decent amount of evade, and we managed to dodge it and get through. And you'll get a free full heal before this next fight, which is with a Lunar Sparkle. Well, we know it's not Ogopogo, and we know it's not Plague. Could be Blarg.
And that is a great reason to go back and save.
Yep, you're like, I haven't seen Wyvern yet. Let's go save.
Luckily, I do believe that if it is Wyvern, FirebirdLover has that curse ring, so you can get off a lot of Star Veils. Just get the proper anchor, set the battle speed down to Wyvern standard time, and it's not a fast fight, but it's doable.
I could be wrong. D-Lunar was potentially seen.
Well, it has been now.
Well, yeah, there it is. Okay. Artemis arrows would be really good here. You don't want to use the fight command if you can avoid it, because that's what triggers their virus script, but they are technically dragons, so it's a bit dicey. Opts to just go ahead and shoot them out using the Artemis arrows. I'm not sure on this one.
And
Yeah, that's why.
Those virus counters, they are pretty rough, even when you got decent armor.
Yeah, so what I would do here would be to wait out the script until they use breath and reflect breath back with a star veil, because breath can turn them into a frog, and then they're helpless. That script being 2 punches, then a fire, and then 4 punches, and that is for each of them. And then you are there.
Frogs, so much easier to destroy than dragons.
Yep, and if you only get one of them to be a frog, make sure you punch the right one. Otherwise, you could still have a bad time. But yeah, it's a very doable encounter here if you know the Lunar Froggy trick.
As someone who learned most of these tricks from watching streams, thank you for explaining all of that, Zoe, because I think this is the best way to learn.
Yeah, it's how I learned. I remember watching a lot of restreams, and the moment where I felt like I was doing pretty well with my knowledge was when I was saying things right before the commentator said them.
Oh, and while FirebirdLover takes another crack at those dragons, Technolink's going to give us a look at what's at Dwarf Castle.
Yep, let's see what's the reward for getting to that alt gauntlet and that Ogopogo. A tower key, so a further chain that you're going to want to check out, because when you get a key added after something like that, you push that potential advantage until it's done, because that is something that you probably think, my opponent probably hasn't done this, or something like that. You go check that tower key. Even if you only do the Penguinator special, which is a half tower, you go check the tower key right now.
And it could lead Technolink to check the top of tower as well, which may not be a check on FirebirdLover's list at the moment. They don't have the tower key, and they have the moon open.
Yep, absolutely. And heading right into the tower. I love this. If you want to, you can take some of these encounter chests, because you do have a Thunderclaw on this Yang. And we did nerf the drop rates from these encounter chests just because they serve double duty as also being a place to steal sirens. And they are very easy to take out. But you can still pull some good stuff out of these.
And at this point, still worth it. Get a little more power, especially on that cane. Could use a cane weapon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with 4 of the chests in here, that's a lot of checks. You don't really have to go out of your way for a couple of them.
Got the breath to go off, but didn't get the lunar frogs there on FBL side.
That
Not
is
sure if
so unfortunate.
Yeah, did we have a star veil up? I was paying more attention to Technolink because I'm excited to see what this loot's going to be.
Loot is always distracting. And
Yep.
it's just a Murasame.
Yep, which we know you can find one in the treasury along with the Masamune, so that's not super duper good. You cannot life pot undead in this game. That is not a mechanic that existed this early in Final Fantasy's lifespan.
And it does look like FirebirdLover is soldiering on with the fight. Still just throwing some flames out. It's a great way to do a lot of damage to both of them. It's, if they were frogs, that would be great. But sometimes, you just get unlucky.
Yeah, if you get them to be frogs and then aim with these Artemis arrows, you'd be through it. But tricky fight. Definitely a tricky fight.
So I don't think I've had them be in the situation. Do they go through their script again after the first time?
No, they just, as far as I'm aware, they just repeat punches at that point until one is left, and then they repeat punches and also start countering any damage with a fire counter.
Gotcha.
Now, someone in chat, correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I've gotten through that far into the script, because if I'm going to, I try in Lunar Frog. The script does repeat, as we just found out. Thank you, Mechalink, and thank you, FirebirdLover, for showing me that. Today I learned. As a developer, today I learned.
And that is excellent for FirebirdLover. Now at least one of them is a frog, and that's going to make this fight so much easier.
Yep. Now you can punch the frog, and this will go just fine.
let's get a look at our top of tower boss.
Ooh, Derek, hello. Not going to give us a key item today. Well, aside from the potential check here, but not going to unlock Rosa's mom by virtue of Bedward being active. And slow, but not necessarily dangerous here. Hits pretty hard, but every 3 hits you get a few turns to heal back up. With a Foo in hand, if you got Nuke, shouldn't be too bad.
The spot's not too terribly punchy. It's just that, that usually you see D-Mist and it's like, and then you remember, oh, it's just going to be an extra long fight where I can't zerk anybody.
Yep, absolutely. Every time I see it, I go, oh. Even after so many practice seeds, it's still just such a gut instinct for most free enterprise players.
It's just second nature.
Yep.
Ooh, and one of the D-Lunars is down.
All right, cool. Now you got to get this one down quickly because it's going to start countering. That is HP-based damage. So, you have any good darts? Darts would be good.
Yeah, my least favorite part is I feel like the animation takes so long. You're sitting there like, oh, why aren't you dead again so fast? God.
Yeah, it is pretty rough. At this point, you are safe to just go ahead and start punching it, though, because it will not use the virus counter because it requires... It looks for the other D-Lunars to still be there to bounce the viruses off of.
And over on Technolink's side, we did finally find a better Kane weapon.
Yeah. You take that. Avenger's real good, especially if you stumble upon a Cecil later with the required Excalibur you're going to have from doing Forge. That's going to be pretty good on Zeromus. And if not, that Excalibur is either a giant hunk of cash or a dart for that edge that you will eventually find by virtue of Zot.
And we've already gotten through several of the bosses who are the rudest to accidentally walk in with an Avenger on. So DKC's out of the pool, D-Mist's out of the pool.
Yeah, we know where Goldbez is, and that one's not super rude, it's just annoying. I think the last real major punishing one would be something like Antlion, because D-Lunars are also out of the pool. That's another one that can really punish you. Rubicant is also kind of annoying, depending on the spot. Good kick.
Kick is doing its job today.
Yeah, this is the most use I've ever seen Kick get that has also been productive. But the tower key has now been checked. FBL made it through. I don't know if he peeked the top of tower boss to see that it was going to be that D-Mist. But we'll be back underground here very shortly.
And in just a minute, Technolink will be exiting the Tower of Zot. Give us see if this trip was going to pay off.
Yep. And a reminder for those in chat, this is a required 7 out of 7 objectives. So bar runners must do all 7 of the objectives listed on your screen in order to get the crystal to make Zeromus vulnerable to damage.
I suppose you could pick your way through Val. That would be right up there with using Darkwave.
I have done both of those at a Val at Baron in 1 before. It is slow, and it is very, very dull.
We're getting some more trap chest checks.
Yep. See if we can pull something nice out of this.
You can never have enough admin armors.
Never, ever. Yeah, in my opinion, you do get diminishing returns past the first, but they're all still pretty good. Artemis Bow that I don't know if Technolink had to this point for that Rosa. Nice to pull.
Agreed. And when he does eventually go down to the hook route, he might throw it on Sid if he decides to take him as an anchor.
Yeah, absolutely. Artemis Bow being a great weapon for Sid, paired with Samurai Arrows or Artemis Arrows, can do a ton of good for Sid, especially because the Artemis Bow kind of fixes his agility problem.
And it gives enough stat boost that even if you do have the curse ring on, you wait to throw it on in the middle of the fight, he can still pack a bit of a punch. See what
All right, moment of truth. There's required. So this alt gauntlet will be required because that is one half of our forge. We are now 2 key items away from no mode here in the booth. For those wondering, no mode meaning we know where everything is, but the runners do not.
You still have that outstanding adamant and the sand ruby, so wherever those are located, could be fast, could be very difficult.
Yep, could be on the moon, could be at the CPU or Goldbez down here in the Fey March. Who's to say?
And now the question is, Technolink's got the levels, he's got the foo, does he take that Goldbez and that CPU while he's down here?
And to answer a question in chat, K-Summon is on. After taking a break for Highway to the Zenith Zone 4, we have brought it back into the fold. So K-Main, Summon, and Moon.
So as chat is pointing out, we still have to check the Odin Throne. We have not, so we still got to beat that. That's an objective. We have the Luca key, so FirebirdLover could go make that check after Dwarf if they don't go straight to tower. And this King and Queen spot that hopefully we're going to see soon.
Yep, so 4 checks still here on the Earth, and then we've got Moon. And that is definitely starting to feel like there's going to be some value on the Moon here, because you'll need to hit 2 terminal key items here on the Earth, because we have basically every non-terminal key item to this point across both of our runners.
Best thing that could probably happen for Technolink at this point is for the summon spots down here in the Fey March to pay out. You could get extraordinarily lucky. Could pick up that adamant and that sand ruby.
He absolutely could. Wilder things have happened in Free Enterprise, to be sure.
And we see the power of that adamant armor. Yang is just like, nah, none of this bothers me. And those 2 demolishes fail because, as I recall, the adamant armor does protect him from that instant death attack. Hopefully, with a little bit of healing, getting up that Star Veil, this will be a pretty easy fight for Technolink, if a long one, because that spot has a lot of HP. Don't quote me, somewhere around 30,000. So it's gonna take a minute, but should be able to just punch his way through. Ah, 37,000 minus the 15 HP for Shadow. Thank you, Possum. And with that pickup from Dwarf Castle, I think that brings FirebirdLover to 10 key items?
Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, yep.
So now, if you have Siren or you want to do a fight, great time to get some extra levels.
Yep, it looks like FBL is deciding that Fey March is now the play here.
Technolink is slugging away at this Goldbez. Just punch, 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 punch. As chat points out, that Star Veil will wear off eventually, but as long as Yang isn't hit by the virus, if it's one of the other elemental spells, the adamant armor should probably give him enough time to throw up a veil without too much trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would just be holding A until that does happen, rather than trying to use power punches, because once you've done the requisite amount of damage, a single hit will trigger the Y dialogue to end the encounter. But you want to make sure you get there. Oop, yep, there's that virus right to the face.
worst case, but still tanked it with no problems. So,
Yeah.
probably want to throw a Tier 3 or something on there, but should just be fine.
Yep. At this point, I would just be holding A and hoping that I can out DPS the Star Veil running off.
And it never feels good to be kind of in that spot just because you really feel how much time these fights can take when all you have to do is just hold down A. It's even you could be ahead and be doing great, but it just feels so long.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Those lit 3s are doing a nice chunk, though. And there we go. Got the Y. We are through. Let's see if this pays off. As FirebirdLover decided to take on the CPU first. Well, if we can find a Cecil, you have an adamant armor, you have a crystal sword. Cecil can go burr, but that requires us to find a Cecil, which could be on the moon from the darkness crystal, could be in that sand ruby bed, or could be on the giant.
If that sand ruby is somewhere on the moon after we have our crew all leveled up, really might not want to take that Cecil even with the crystal sword.
I mean, for my money's worth, if I had like 6 sirens, I'd probably still do it. Crystal sword Avenger with adamant. I think the amount of time I would spend on a brief egg grind would be made up for on the Z fight, but I could be wrong. And maybe that loses me a race. We'll see.
You know what? You're probably right, and maybe I should change my strategy. See, this is why I love watching these races. And we have a double CPU fight going on. So the CPU, not a terribly dangerous fight. The Mazer just does standard HP damage. It does a percentage of HP damage, so as long as you can heal it up, you can just keep fighting this guy. But it takes a minute, especially with that big CPU in the back row. And I don't think either Kane or Yang are back row. Yang would obviously be very difficult. So that means that they do not do full damage when they attack the CPU in the back row, so it takes even longer.
Yeah, unfortunately, but for FBL's side, we have this Edge who, in some circumstances, is not as good as Fu, but in this one, a bit better than Fu because you can actually attack through this, and you do have a back road Edge, so you're going to be doing, 1,500 a swing, as opposed to this Fu who can't nuke through the wall.
And it definitely looks like neither runner is interested in trying to get a float off on the attacker so that they can use Quake. That is a risky strat, and it only has a 50% chance of success, so I completely understand.
Chad is asking to ask me about back rowing Yang. It is something that I did in the tournament race, and the person who's asking me is the person who beat me in that tournament race, and I lost by about the time it took to set it up. But you can do it.
No.
You can do it with a glitch that allows you to steal a Charm Harp from a Lamia and then equip it in mid-battle to Yang, and that allows him to get back road. I've actually done it once in practice in this tournament flag set as well, because if I'm known for a bit, I'm going to commit to it. But it's pretty niche, and for the most part, your Yang is never going to be back road.
And all of that extra punching helps FirebirdLover get through that CPU.
Let's see what we got from here. All right, that is a time refund, in my opinion.
Oh, my stream was behind. What was it?
It was a pass.
Oh! And yeah. It probably will be a bigger thing for Technolink because they haven't found darkness yet, so they may be thinking, oh, if I get through the moon, if I get through Earth, I might not have to go to the moon. That might be my access.
We now know that there are only 2 spots left that we could be able to avoid moon. That is Sealed Cave and that barren basement. I imagine FBL does Barren Basement before going to the moon, but that sealed cave is a bit dicier. I like to check it. It's only about a minute to go get the knowledge, but if you need to keep it to warp out, it's kind of dicey. But looking at these key items, it can't chain into anything else, so you'll know whether or not it's valuable right off the bat.
Exactly. There's only terminal key items left, so it's just about checking all the spots we have, which is all of them.
Yeah, in a minute for sealed cave, I'll take that when I know that it's going to be a terminal or nothing.
Because once you commit to the moon, it's usually just do everything up there before coming back.
Yeah, moon is not yet required, chat. We still have 2 spots that we have not yet checked, and we need 2 key items. It is almost certainly required, but not mathematically yet.
And then if it does turn out to be required, at that point, it may be a decision of just decide who decides to go top down versus bottom up. Personally, when I'm only looking for 1 or 2 key items, I tend to like to go top down on the moon just so that I don't have to make that long walk. Just in case.
I agree. I would be checking Cave Bahamut first, then go Murasame, and then if I found one of the 2, I'll probably dip down to the bottom and save Crystal Sword for last. But yeah, if I'm just looking for 1, it's weird. If I'm looking for 2, I'll do what I just said. If I'm looking for 1, I'll just go like Cave Bahamut and then bottom up. It's weird. My routing makes no sense, not even to me. Don't worry.
That's how you keep your opponent on your toes. They can never figure you out.
Nope, never ever.
And FirebirdLover just zerked Edge through the, was it a wall on him? And does probably going to take that Goldbez out pretty quick.
Yep, absolutely. Has that Star Veil up. Yeah, this will be mathematic. Just hit him a few times and there we go. We're done.
So now both of them will be very happy if they run into Cecil.
Oh, yeah. Now, FBL has not yet done Cave Magnes to get the admin armor, but other than that, Crystal Sword still does a lot of work on its own.
Technolink, just because they found the plan in Feymarch, he is going to go through this whole chain, which I believe gets him Earth Crystal, and will get him that edge.
Yep, you'll get Earth Crystal out of this chain. I believe you also get Luca Key out of this chain.
Still don't know if value is down there yet, but that Zot is required.
Yep, absolutely. We'll see what FBL just does to do now. Still has that harp that he hasn't done. Still have Luca, still have Barren Castle. So I think we might be looking at Barren Castle right now because you know that it's a required objective.
And at almost an hour and 10 in, when you see that Fu is there, and you skipped going here for so long, it's probably going to make a little nervous.
Yeah, I'd be sweating a little bit.
Definitely. I always feel bad. It's not quite getting early darkness and then skipping and then finding Fu on the dais, but it is... It puts a little zip in your step.
Yeah, I think the thing that FBL can hope for most here is that there's a Cecil on the dais if he wants to upgrade his party, and Cecil not on the dais if he doesn't care. Because Technolink will absolutely take that Cecil, I imagine.
And considering the party and the levels, I'm guessing FirebirdLover will probably take the Barren Basement throne, and then we'll see for sure whether or not it's a required move.
Yes, absolutely. I don't see any reason you don't do it now with this this edge, as powerful as it is.
Thanks, chat. Now I have that song stuck in my head.
Oh my gosh. 3 different people made the same joke on the dais to the tune of Amadeus.
On the dais, on the dais. On the dais, on the dais. I'm done. I'm not going to do any more.
Yeah, don't get us copy struck. My
And it
God,
looks
Syl, I love you. We still need an adamant, and then if Cecil is on the dais, and he can say, "Rock me on the dais." Gosh, chat, you're insufferable. I love you all. They're still going.
Ah, bless all of you. Oh, and Technolink did look like skipped the treasury on his way in. So not going to get those extra nice edge swords.
Yeah, may not take the edge in that case. We'll see.
I think he still has the Murrah from that trap chest down in Lower Babel, but it's definitely going to make that one a lot more valuable.
Yeah, that's true. FBL is going to find this Odin. It's always fun when you see that because you're like, oh, wait, why didn't the sprite change? Oh, right.
It's me. Me!
I always like it when it's King Eblin there because I can just make the Kung Pao reference and just go, your clothes are blue! And while both runners retrace ground that the other has already walked, just want to give a shout out to our team behind the scenes. We have Alchemy, our fantastic restream lead on the restream today, handling all sorts of fires and the complications. Huge shout outs to her. And our tracker today being Dravenheart, the mother of the free enterprise community. We love her. Show her some love. Thank you both so much for helping out today.
So we could not do this without their help. And especially today, since all kinds of technical issues with Discord were going on, and it is frankly thanks to the efforts of the wonderful free enterprise community that we're even able to pull through and actually get the stream going.
Yeah, absolutely. And then shout outs to you, my friend, Stone Dingley, across from me here in the booth. It's fantastic doing comms with you so far, and I look forward to doing comms with you again in the future. 10 out of 10 commentary partner, for sure.
And extra thanks to you, Zoe, for all of the work that you put in on Free Enterprise itself. You have done an amazing job developing so far, and I can't wait to see what you guys all have planned for maybe April 1st.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Me and Board have both been busy, so I'll say it here first. If nothing happens on April 1st, don't be too surprised, but we'll see if we can pull something out.
Either way, I appreciate everything.
Well, thank you.
All right, now that FirebirdLover has picked up that foo, we will see if they go ahead and finally check out that Baron Throne.
There we go. I was about to call out the Technolink may have made a technical error there, but did get that full moon in the right hand to properly back row this edge, and it's going to keep using it. It's still a very good weapon, has 40 power, same as a longsword, slightly less accurate, but deals extra damage to flying enemies to compensate, so not the worst to pair with a Murasame for sure.
Absolutely, that extra damage against flying can come in very handy if we encounter, I think at this point, Mylon Z at a rune spot?
Yeah, absolutely, and chat mentioning that Rosa's fast enough for RA1. I believe that Rosa has an Artemis bow and a heroin robe on, so I would be surprised if she wasn't fast enough for RA1.
Basement Throne is a pretty freebie fight.
Yeah, you do not hate to see this. Toss an hourglass. You'll take 3 hits, and then you can just fly your way through it. You can pop a coffin if you want to make this a little bit faster.
The thing I'm always thinking in a spot like this is, do I life glitch the imps? You know, it's not a ton of XP, but it's helpful if your next stop's the moon.
Yeah, and this is also concerning. This was open early, so not only was there a foo here, there's also a free fight at your objective spot that you don't know if your opponent's checked or not. So maybe you're feeling the heat maybe at this point. Now we know that Technolink hasn't taken this yet, but Maybe he does now.
And working through that pan chain, Technolink has caught up quite a bit, at least on the key item count. So he's going to get that extra, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that extra experience from taking this fight down here.
Yeah, at this point, Technolink has done both the harp check and the tower check that FBL has not yet done. So getting this foo early kind of snowballed into catching up with checks quite a bit.
Not required.
Not required, not extra required, but that pink tail being another admin armor that you can put into your collection. First one for FBL would be the second for Technolink.
Absolutely. And it may not be required, but that does mean Moon is.
Also, chat pointing out that FirebirdLover has also already launched the Falcon, which would be another chunk of time that Technolink has to make up. But yeah, still made up quite a bit of time from early on.
And if FirebirdLover does go to the moon and ignore that tower, that could be difficult, because I believe the tower key is where they got the Legend Sword?
Yes, tower key was Legend Sword. I'm struggling to remember where the Darkness Crystal came from.
Was that the Rat Tail tournament?
Oh, yes. That was the Rat Tail tournament, I believe.
Which means that Technolink, once he does Zot, should be able to get that.
He has done Zot, so just I believe the hook is yet to be lit up, but we are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he does have edge.
Yeah, we do have a hook in hand on Technolink's side, so we can go turn in that rat tail and that pink tail from the Dark Imps once we get them down. Which we may not have an hourglass in hand to make it particularly free, because spot is kind of punchy when you have 3 enemies.
At that point, I would just consider casting stone with Fu and fingers crossed.
Yeah, and I think he had forgotten to re-equip the Adamant because it was on Yang, and he dismissed Yang, so he hadn't re-equipped it, which would have made that fight all but done. But it looks like FBL is making the same play that Technolink did, so this will be time neutral for them. Doing the package before having the Sand Ruby, so gonna have to sit through the cutscene on both ends. So what we thought may have been a misplay by Technolink earlier has now been matched by FBL and will cost neither runner time in the scheme of this race.
And on the other hand, they could get a spoon and then decide to take Eddie with them, especially if they also find a Cecil that they want to level up. If you take that Ed Spoonward and Crystal Cecil, give them a couple Sirens, that is a lot of damage on Z.
Yeah, especially if you've got 2 Adamant armors in hand like Technolink does. Absolutely. That would be a consideration. Because, yeah, Eddie is a bit frail, but if you can nerf the first Big Bang and Eddie survives it, if you can kill before the second Big Bang, it doesn't matter what his HP total is.
Exactly. And that spoon has as much power as a crystal sword. That is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, I think it actually has more raw attack power. It just doesn't come with the bonus to like strength and what have you.
Which would be nice, because Eddie needs it.
Yeah, Eddie needs some multipliers, but if you toss the admin armor on him, that's quite a few multipliers on its own. But yes, Fatal can miss. It does have an accuracy roll. It's very rare, but it can miss, unfortunately.
Yes, if you play Free Enterprise long enough, you'll see that certain bosses at certain spots with spells that you thought hit 100% of the time, you just get really lucky.
Yep, and Technolink now has this objective done. Objective number 4 will be lit up and can turn in that rat tail now, can turn in that pink tail. We'll have objective number 1 lit up by virtue of that rat tail. And the only difference between these 2 runners, as I mentioned before, one's done the harp, one's done the tower, and the one that's done the tower, one's done the harp and tower, and one's done launching the Falcon. That's what my brain was trying to say. Blah.
It's a lot to keep track of.
It is. And again, big shout outs to our tracker for keeping track of all the key items today.
And we know that this tower check, well, the top of tower, you get the Avenger, that's nice. Actually going and getting that Legend Sword is going to be a big step forward for FirebirdLover, because that means that they can just, go to the moon with a few less worries.
Yeah. And with Moon required, I would definitely be thinking about peeking that Luca key sooner than later to see if that is also required, so you can know that you can just leave the moon after getting one item, rather than having to hunt for two.
There's nothing quite as makes you feel bad as when you find one of the items on a top-down moon and you know you left Luca unchecked. I hope that everybody watching likes this flag set, because I believe this is the first restream match for our Adamant Cup, our spring tournament for the free enterprise community. So all of us are going to be doing a bunch of races of this flag set for the next couple months. And the slightly harder bracket flag set. It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. The 7 out of 7 completion. At first, I was super worried the races were going to go crazy long, but you know what? I think that it's just been great length, lots of fun.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the admin team for what they did with this flag set. I know Inven and I, while Inven was still an admin, we pitched kind of the prototype of these flags, and then the admin team went to work kind of finding the holes and shoring things up and making it nice and competitive and fun. And I'll have to say, this is probably my favorite tournament flag set since I've been a part of the community. I didn't think anything was going to beat ZZ3 groups, but this has been just a delight to play. And I've been doing a lot of practice, but I've sometimes just been doing the practice for fun, because I just am genuinely having fun with this flag set.
Absolutely. This is very enjoyable. And one thing I appreciate from having done a lot of the ZZ3 seeds is just how often I don't do a D machine grind.
Yeah. It's how often I'm not actually doing a grind period is really nice. Moon bosses have been my grind more often than not in these flags.
And as we've seen with all of this completion, our runners are definitely at the levels they need to start taking on those moon bosses, even if they didn't have the crazy powerful gear that they got.
Yeah. And I saw the turn in for the pink tail. I believe we also got a turn in for the rat tail there. So that's Darkness Crystal and objective number 1 for Technolink. So now, objective-wise, what's separating these runners is launching the Falcon. FirebirdLover finishing up Tower Key, going to get this Legend Sword as soon as he leaves the tower. And Technolink's going to go take on the hook route and try and get this caught up. It's looking like the difference between these two runners right now is exactly one Twin Harp check. Despite all of the divergence we've seen in this seed, our runners are very close to one another.
And even if FirebirdLover does decide not to check the harp, Technolink can make up some time here by getting through D-Lunars a little bit quicker, especially with that Foo.
Yeah.
Make it a little easier.
Absolutely. And then going to go ahead and buy a Ninja Sword here, because only having that one Murasame, I do like that play here. I would also consider buying a Sorcerer Robe if you aren't planning on putting an Adamant Armor on Foo, but we will see how this plays out.
Especially if you have that Cursed Ring, Foo makes a great anchor, but not if he has that plus 15 agility from an Adamant Armor.
Yeah. And there we go. Legend Sword in hand for FirebirdLover. And he is going right over to Sealed Cave, going to see, hey, is this required before I go to the moon? And I wonder if we will see a Twin Harp check for the same reason. We'll get paid off with an Adamant Armor if he decides to do so, but if he skips it, then that's just time made back up.
Yeah, you're not unhappy to see that Adamant Armor, but it's not the time save that you're hoping for when you already turned in the Pink Tail. Let's see if Technolink decides to take Sid. Guessing. Yep. Nope.
Nope,
Poor
nope.
Sid.
Gonna warm the bench today, my friend.
An early game Sid is a great find. A late game Sid is thanks for being there, bud.
Late game Sid is, do I already have an anchor?
No.
All right, FBL making his way into the sealed cave. Here in about a minute, we should be seeing what is there in the crystal room and whether or not he's going to have to fight the boss or if he could just reset out and head to the moon.
We have a Technolink checking a couple of the chests up in Upper Babel. Maybe trying to find that ogre chest to get a third adamant armor.
Yeah, some of these are like right directly in your route, so it's not too many steps to go out of your way for them. And pulling another admin armor, as I mentioned earlier, I feel like there's diminishing returns on each one after the first, but definitely does not hurt to have 3. You don't want 4 in this flag set because you want your anchor to be slow, but 3 is very nice to have.
I'm just waiting until someone gets 4 adamant armors and then decides to go quad Zerk, even Zerk Fu.
I would love to see a Zerk Fu. Oh.
So he can use bows, right? Probably get a lot of damage.
Yeah,
well,
all right.
A lot of damage for Fu.
Yeah. Like already adamant armor is probably going to be putting out like 15 to 2k, which isn't bad. Oh, required.
Oh.
All right. So FBL now only needs a Sand Ruby and to clear this fight. So now it's time to play the Moon Roulette. Where is the Sand Ruby? I'm going to make my guess, and I'm going to say that the Sand Ruby is on the White Spear Altar.
I'm going to be rude, and I'm going to say the Crystal Sword Altar, because that's almost always the last one checked.
Ooh.
Go full 17 out of 17.
And we're almost there. Finding the spoon will guarantee us a 17 out of 17, which is something you will see a lot in this flag set. So if you're in the tournament and you've been practicing and you've been getting a lot of 17 out of 17s and feeling bad about it, don't. It is kind of what this flag set was intended to do. That is a feature, not you being less than good.
Absolutely. And FirebirdLover is now through that Bahamut. Even though this Evil Wall spot is pretty quick, Bahamut, pretty easy to take if you've got Reflect.
Yeah, Y2 Sky pointing out that a lot of seeds, when people are discussing them, is how many key item checks did you do rather than how many key items did you get, because that's a better indicator of how lucky you got in the seed or how well your routing panned out.
Absolutely, it is more. I think about how many checks did I have a chance to skip and didn't have to go back. That's in this flag set. If you can skip one of the unnecessary checks, it can be a huge advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're full clearing a seed, looking at that time and just seeing kind of where it fell, that can really give you a good feel of how well you're like getting through fights. This is a great flag set, and I would argue that this is actually even a pretty good flag set for beginners. Once you've kind of got your feet wet and understand for Enterprise, trying out this flag set even casually can really help you figure out where your execution could use some work, which bosses you're slow at. This is a great practice flag set just for getting better at for Enterprise, period.
An adamant turn in. I believe on the group flag set, that means we get an Excal, but we also get access to the shop.
After we sell some things.
Of course, the shop down here can have some very high tier items. Could pick up some crystal rings, or at this point, there's not a whole lot that the party needs.
A second Zeus Gauntlet wouldn't be bad. Some apples if you wanted to get cheeky and go into Zeromus a little bit early, like to just feed a couple apples to your Rosa wouldn't be bad. There is
everything we asked for.
Yep. Life Staff. I would even grab I'd grab that second Zeus Gauntlet here if I was as FBL, or you can just sell the Crystal Sword, get the White Spear.
That is a flex.
Yep. So now if we have Cecil on the dais, we will not be taking him. And then that would feel bad, but you got an X-Cal, so maybe you do still take him. Maybe that was the math that FBL did.
And always, you can just throw that X-Cal, but that Crystal Sword, it's too precious. Edge won't throw it.
And no, Cecil says, no, this is my baby. You don't get to throw this one. Here, throw this piece of garbage, and hands him the X-Cal. It's like finishing the race game in Link to the Past Randomizer. You can have this trash.
And FirebirdLover, with nothing left to do on Earth except music, says, no music.
No music, no second add-on armor, but that is about 3 to 4 minutes made back, so feel pretty good. Now it's going to be a question of, does Technolink go check that Luca Cave, or just decide, now is the time for the moon?
It looks like he may be heading to the moon.
Yeah, but he has launched the Falcon, so he now has Objective 5 lit up in his favor as well. So 6 objectives done for FBL, 5 done for Technolink. Depending on where the Sand Ruby is and whenever Technolink gets around to going to the sealed cave, that's going to decide the race.
Technolink could always get lucky, go top-down moon, find the Sand Ruby, and decide maybe to come back and check Luca. FirebirdLover could go bottom up and not find it, and that would be extra difficult. So there's still a lot of plays that could be made that would give Technolink a chance to catch up and maybe see a really close Z fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Fading sealed cave is not great here. I understand the decision, and there's no fault in the decision itself. It's just knowing what we know, going to sealed cave is required. So,
yes, I'm not psychic. The runners aren't psychic. Zoe is occasionally psychic, but I mean, we promised they're not going to use that as part of the race.
No,
when you compete against them.
The only time I use it during a race is when I call something bad for myself, like a Goldbez on the Baron throne.
We appreciate you handicapping yourself. Thank you.
It's always the worst. I'm just like, I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm not going to say it out loud. And then it still happens. I'm like, the game heard my thoughts.
And just Iridia on the dais. It's a little late without slingshots to be wanting to pick up a black mage.
Yep, but that's good. That is good for FirebirdLover that it's not the Cecil, because Technolink does still have that crystal sword that he could have flexed.
And a little sad to see that Bahamut, I believe, from the treasury will just go unused. And we don't get to see one of the other nice things about the new flags is that when Rydia does grow up, she gets a different selection of summon spells now than normal. We didn't take her, but it is kind of nice to be able to not get the same ones every time. Maybe pick up a Leviathan.
Yep. Every summon spell aside from Chocobo and Bahamut can be randomly assigned upon finishing Dwarf Castle to Rydia. Something that I added in the beta here came from the suggestions doc. Unfortunately, the contributor of the suggestion was not marked by Rivers because it was forever ago. But I thought it was pretty cool, so I implemented it. And yeah, it's just kind of a fun little thing. You can get Leviathan at Dwarf with Rydia, which can help you in the mid game if you've made it there, and could help out in different flag sets. This one, it's not going to make much of an impact. Maybe during brackets. Maybe.
I am looking forward to the creative things people are going to be doing during brackets. And here, FirebirdLover doing the ribbon room first, where Technolink is taking on the elements at Bahamut.
Well, okay, that was funny.
It's not quite a mirror match. It just looks that way. FirebirdLover resetting out of that probably wants to use the White Spear to get that extra bonus damage against flying creatures. was switch it out for the Avenger to glitch it. Because despite what it looks like, Mylon Z is actually flying.
Yep, but also the White Spear will hit the Holy weakness anyways, and you can't double up on the Holy and Flying weakness, because Flying is technically a weakness to air. So they're both elemental weaknesses.
Totally true. I just was focusing on the spear part, because
I
think I'm more likely to have a spear when I fight Mylon Z.
Oh, absolutely. You're absolutely right there. It does hit the 2 times regardless, but it just can't hit both.
It's not like hitting him with the Crystal Sword.
No, but he is flying, which is because he is the Fiend of Earth, so it makes him immune to Quake, which is only relevant in vanilla if you grinded Palom up to level 23 on Ordeals, which is a pain. I've tried it. It's slow and not worth it.
Much easier just to use a bow. And Mylon Z, with that huge HP pool, is already down.
Yep, and we'll see if going bottom up here was the right play right off the bat. Do we get a Sand Ruby? Nope, just a Life Staff and a Protector Ring.
17 out of 17 dreams kept alive.
Yep. All right, let's see. Are we going to do White Spear, or are we going to see if my guess was correct?
Now, if Technolink picks up the Sand Ruby here, really gives him an edge, because FirebirdLover is probably going to finish the rest of Moon before coming back up.
Nope, just a Moon Veil.
And at this point, having 2 adamant armors is the thinking man's Moon Veil.
Wow. Okay, and there's Kanatsu. Just a very fiendish moon so far.
Yeah, get them all knocked out of the way. Got the combo on top and the rest underneath. We still haven't...
We have not seen Val or Rubicant, have we?
I was just about to ask. I don't think so. FirebirdLover not even trying to nerf the waves. Well, not with lightning. Nerfing the waves by destroying the boss. And let's see if Technolink keeps up with the top down and checks that Murasame altar first. The turtle has receded into their shell. Let's see, what are some rude bosses that could be left as roadblocks?
Valvalis is rude, but not super duper rude when you're going with Zerkers.
Especially when both teams have Kane.
Well, my guess is wrong. It's just another Masamune. You already have 2 of those. Don't need a third. He is not Zolo from One Piece, unfortunately.
Useless legendary swords. And Optimam. This is going to be kind of a quick spot, but you hack off some of those limbs, and things get a lot easier.
Yep. This would be, you could also toss out a Moon Veil here and just make it so whoever has that Moon Veil never dies. Because Octomam only punches, and the Moon Veil puts up the barrier status on your character, which means that for the rest of the fight, they will dodge every melee attack against them.
And as we make sashimi on the right, FirebirdLover is going to be punching robots.
Yeah. Dr. Luggage here, deciding to guard whatever is hiding at the Masamune altar. See, this should be fairly textbook. We will see how this goes.
Yeah, the only downside to Dr. Luge, it's not a bad fight most of the time, but boy, he loves the sound of his own voice.
Oh, he does. He loves to talk. Dr. Dialogue is what we call him. He also, because of the way that the fight works, he also steals most of the experience on the spot, and that's really obnoxious.
And So, luckily, they also split the HP between all 3 versions of him. I'm
All
counting Balnab.
4.
Oh, yeah.
Balnab Z.
That is correct. I always forget about Balnab Z.
Yeah, Balnab Z does take a portion of the HP.
Oh, and Technolink is going to go 17 out of 17. Finding that spoon.
There's the spoon. So we know it's either here at Masamune or it's at Crystal Sword Altar. There is no other option. So it's either you're right or it's behind this Dr. Luge.
And again, with the other annoying Dr. Luge thing, poisons your party, so that's a fun walk out if it is something you want to keep.
Also blocks you from being able to berserk.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, you do have that Avenger. That, I think, gets through it. But
it will get through it, yeah.
I definitely at least a dozen times cast Berserk on someone who was just about to be poisoned here.
Nice quad 4s there.
That'll do it.
We are through. Let's see if this is go mode or if it's going to be Crystal Sword Altar. It is going to be the Crystal Sword Altar. Stone Dingley, you have won the prize today, and the prize is a congratulations from the Red Witch herself. Congratulations.
Woo! I just wish I could make predictions like that when it was actually me racing.
Congratulations.
Because I can already tell you, in their shoes, I would have gone top down and then bottom up. Would have been the slowest possible.
I would have done too.
Yeah, so there are still a couple bosses that would be a little bit rude here. A Vanilla Wyvern.
Antlion at Crystal Sword Altar is really bad.
Yeah. Nothing our runners can't handle, but still time consuming. Oh!
Sorry.
You did it again!
I'm sorry. I can't turn it off.
Oh, and the extra rude knocking down that foo, so can't just nuke him. Gotta keep punching. Oh, and Technolink is actually doing the full top-down, and going straight to that Crystal Sword Altar.
Yeah.
Probably still going to finish the moon looking for that adamant, but it is nice to find that early.
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll be able to reset out much easier. You're going to have the experience from this to kind of help you get through. It's at this point, it is FirebirdLover's race to lose, but with this party comp, I'm not going to say that this is a gimme free Z fight. So one Z wipe could potentially leak right back in this. But there we go. FirebirdLover is in go mode. Does have to sit through the package boss there in Kaipo, but so will Technolink. But then once that's done, can turn in that Sand Ruby, get the crystal, has the pass, so whenever they are ready for Zeromus, they can go fight the big bad.
Feel a little sad they probably won't go and pick up Eddie. I love that little bard with his spoon. Well, especially Firebird's not going to pick Eddie up because they do not have the spoon.
Yep, they dodged the 17 at 17 by going bottom up.
It turns out that being able to skip that the top of moon and music, probably going to be the deciding factors in getting to that Z fight first.
Yeah, absolutely. Nearly a full clear. This will be a full clear from Technolink, doing, I believe, all 28 key item check locations, which in the amount of time that this will have taken, currently sitting at 1 hour and 45 minutes, that is quite expedient for a full clear. And whether or not he comes away with the win or not, I would be proud of the way that this race has been played.
Oh, absolutely. Any full clear under 2 hours is a fast full clear.
Absolutely. Ah, there's
our
Rubicon.
leg.
Goodbye, leg.
Not so rude when he goes down in one hit. We don't even get any leg.
No, unfortunate. I'll have to go hug my leg later.
I'm hoping it is Cecil in the Sand Ruby spot, just as kind of a little like nya from the sea.
Just a little bratty Cecil going like, I've been here all along.
Oh, you still holding on to that crystal sword for me? At least FirebirdLover can say, no. So
No, I'm not. Oh, it's just a duplicate Tellus. So Cecil was on the giant after all.
is that going to be the meme of this tournament, that Cecil is just always on giant?
I feel like that is going to be the meme, yeah. And with that, FirebirdLover has completed all 7 objectives, has lit up the rainbow on the restream layout, has the crystal in hand, and now can go figure out who is butt and how to kick it. But I guess there's a more proper way to ask that question. Do you want to take the honors?
Oh, sure. We here in the free enterprise community have a tradition. When someone approaches the lunar bottom to fight the final fight, we don't like to fight a normal vanilla Z. We like to mix things up and have a slightly different Z show up every time. Same fight pattern, just a new look, a glow up, if you will. We ask ourselves on our way down, before we see him, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
I don't know if I want the Twilight Zone theme to play or for a title card to come in that says executive producer Dick Wolf. I'm not sure which one I want more right now, but that was fantastic, Dingley.
Thank you.
But also there's a second question, and that is butt cute?
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes it is terrifying.
We are going to find out here shortly. At 1 hour and 48 minutes, FirebirdLover is taking the teleporter. We'll walk up to Zeromus, and we will probably be in the fight at around 1:49. So before 1:50 or so, or thereabouts, we should see who is butt? How is butt? Butt is now, so no need to ask when is butt.
And either why butt is cute, or why butt is very much not.
And there we go. There's a throw of the crystal. A bit of a blarg. Arg. We will see his true colors as they emerge.
Come on, cute butt. Oh, no, not cute.
Oh. Well, I guess, yeah, this is kind of timely.
Oh, geez. Foo, step back. Your beard's gonna get singed.
Right? Rosa, be careful. Yeah, very timely. A Dark Souls boss, Elden Ring has just come out, and I've heard it's fantastic. I've yet to play it, because I've been suffering from a cold, if you haven't been able to tell, the past 2 hours.
And we got the nerf. We've got some curing coming out. We've probably got some punches with swords that are going to be doing a good amount of damage. So
It's like we're doing Trizerk as well.
Ooh.
And I think we might be right at that threshold where if you can do about 12,000 damage per round, you can skip Big Bang 2. looks like we're going to be doing about 10K, so a little bit shy, almost in wombo combo range, which is where you take a big bang right into a Meteo. But with those adamant armors, it makes the Meteo dodge really easy. So as long as Fu can get out a Cure 4 here, get people back up out of big bang kill range, we should be fine.
And it would make sense to, let Fu continue to heal, but on the other hand, quad zerk, quad zerk, quad zerk, quad zerk.
You'd love to see it. I would love to see it.
But you know what? It's not my race on the line, so I completely understand not doing the meme. If a second Big Bang does come out, you'll want to get that healing in.
Yeah. And again, shoutouts to everyone behind the scenes that made sure that this race did go off without a hitch. We had not only our restreamer Alchemy, we had Dravenheart, who kind of alerted us to the fact that voice chat was still working while Discord was down. We had Moonblaze Wolf and Solaris helping out, make sure that we got this race up and running on racetime.gg instead of using Discord Race Spot like we normally do. So this has been a collaborative effort to make sure that we could bring you the first restream of the Adamant Cup on time and in full force. And there's Rocks.
Oh, and as Technolink is on his way to get his crystal, actually he's got to do Luca first, but then should be getting into Z soon. And FirebirdLover successfully getting through those rocks, but even a counter nuke. So someone asked why use the crystal on Z again. It's so that you can nerf. But we have a finish.
We do. Let me check the race room here. FirebirdLover has finished in first place with a time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 57 seconds. I believe our timer is slightly off because it was started a bit late, but that is the first place time from FirebirdLover, 1:53:57. We'll see if we can get him in here for an interview.
Excellent work by both of our racers, putting in the time, putting in the effort, giving us a great show. Really appreciate the things that they've been doing for us.
And we are joined by FBL. GG's, and thanks for handling or dealing with the before race shenanigans. We really appreciate you pushing through.
Thank you very much. As far as I'm concerned, that kind of thing happens and you just deal and move on. So
yeah. Well, dealing and move on is exactly what you did, all the way to a first place finish here in the first restream of the Adamant Cup. How are you feeling after that seed?
Mystified.
Tell us more.
I mean, I didn't feel bad about my routing per se, but I absolutely know that my technique is still sort of subpar, and I particularly was feeling it in Zot when I was just going all the wrong directions. And I was just like, well, I'll probably come in, a few minutes after Technolink, and that's fine.
So obviously, as any racer, there's room for improvement. Can't lie about that. But what you showed me today, I was very, very impressed. 1 hour, 53:57, and we'll see it here in just a moment. You got 16 out of 17 key items. The spoon was the only thing you didn't grab, which was on the Murasame altar. I believe that was the only check that you left out. So you did a 28 out of 28 checks as well in sub 2 hours. That is fantastic.
So yeah, on that point, I actually didn't realize I had the harp until I had already finished the race and sort of pulled up the stream to see the end. And I went, wait, I had the harp? Where did I get that?
Oh, so you did what I did, and when I forgot I had the tower key. Yeah, that happens. It only rewarded an adamant armor, only. So you didn't lose any time there, obviously, but I guess it would have been a nice to have.
I don't even remember getting it.
I couldn't tell you where it was, to be honest.
Yeah, luck is luck, whether you chose not to or whether you just, whew, that was great. It's a perfect thing to forget.
Yeah, apparently Twin Harp was Baron in, and also this music was 7th Saga today, so.
Would like to hear that. It's good music. This was a race that definitely convinced me that practice is worth it. I've been doing a couple practice seeds, and what I noticed was Sealed Cave really seems to be worth it, even when you don't have it as one of your requirements.
I agree. It takes about a minute to get the information, and there's no boss hunts, so you don't even need to check the boss if it's nothing. You can just reset back out. And in this case, it was required. And that was the difference in the race, is Technolink faded Sealed Cave before going to the moon. Had he done it before heading up, this would have been a much closer race. Still probably would have taken a Z-wipe to make up the difference, but he did a full clear of the moon, whereas you got to fade both what? You faded the Bahamut spot and the Murasame spot?
Yep.
So.
Out of curiosity, I mean, I'll go back and watch the VOD, but how similar was our early routing?
Oh, not at all.
Oh, very different.
Y'all diverged basically instantly. Technolink got the Foo super early, you got the Edge super early. It wasn't until basically you were going up to the moon that y'all's route reconverged.
Cool.
And I don't think either of you checked the usual early game looting spots, either Waterfall or Castle Evelyn.
Castle Eblin, I honestly think it. I think lots of people disagree, but I think it's a trap. I don't think it's worth it in these flags. If I miraculously made it to brackets, my opinion changes 100%. But I think that you can get good enough equipment in the other spots without having to reset a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I like it particularly mid-game if I have a way of clearing the encounter chest quickly and have like a Cecil in my party. But sometimes I'll take it early if I really feel I need power, just because that's my personal play. But I don't begrudge anyone who says it's not the right play. Hell, my partner says it's not the right play, and I don't disagree with them that much.
As for Waterfall, I actually thought about it. I had exit on Tela, but oh, that's right. We started with the Tela. I completely forgot.
That was one thing I was saying. I don't think I got caught because we had some commentary issues, but early Tela makes Watery Pass very, very tempting because you can go in the back, go all the way to that front waterfall, and then just exit right back out. And who knows what could have been there because neither of you checked that.
Yeah, I think what decided me on that was I got that early magma key and said, you know what? I bet you the best treasure I can get is going to be in Fey March. I'll need one reset and that'll be good.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Early magma, you get that underground loot. Very, very, very strong.
I do believe you picked up a heroin rope down there, which did a lot of work for you early game.
Yeah, I had it equipped most of the game. I remember switched out for Wizard at least once when I knew I'd need the healing. And only regretted it when I accidentally forgot to switch out to Wizard during the CPU fight. Yeah,
there was one point where you healed for a grand total of 15 on a week here too, and that was fun to see. We've all made that mistake before.
Oh yeah, that was it was at the sisters spot. I can't remember. Oh, that was fighting Dark Knight Cecil. Yeah, when I burned through all my cure 2s.
Oh yeah,
it was the slowest Dark Knight Cecil ever. But yeah, I tested the Cure 3 with that robe on against CPU and said, this is only barely enough and only if she does nothing but heal. Okay. That was a mistake. But I didn't want to reset, so.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you at all. Technolink finding this curse ring here in Troya on the way to go to Zeromus. has the crystal in hand, has the pass in hand. We will see this very shortly. Opting to anchor the Fu. I believe that's what you did as well. Is that right?
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Tri-Zerk strats there. Fu makes a fantastic anchor because he can single target Cure 4. Technolink will soon be fighting Gwinimus. Probably going to go back out and save after that prep, especially if at this point you know you've lost the race, you just wanted to get it done quickly. So taking the safety save, I completely understand doing.
That Baron weapon shop, except for my stupidity of buying charm arrows, was just a godsend.
I was wondering about that. I was like, I was like 60 samurai arrows makes sense. I was like 10 charm arrows makes sense if you want to do encounter chests, but I didn't get the 60. But I guess that was just a misplay. And that makes sense. I've done the same thing.
Saw the charm arrows first.
Oh, okay. Tunnel vision right on the charm arrows because you don't. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've done that.
And then I was really annoyed because I didn't get as many Cure 3s as I wanted due to that.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, from the start, I hit Troya, saw those shops, and said, I'm coming back here. When I get money, I'm coming back.
So, FirebirdLover, is there any other thoughts about the seed or maybe your strategy? And keep in mind, I am taking notes for our race tomorrow.
Yeah, I noticed you were I noticed you were scouting while commentating at the same time. Went through most of it. I remember thinking the whole time, I have to save more than I want to because I still haven't seen that darn wyvern. And I don't know if it ever even appeared in the seed. And that really hit me when I went into Baron Castle. I said, I haven't saved in a bit, and I'm about to walk up to the throne. If this is wyvern, I could be in trouble. So I moved down my battle speed just for that, the small chance that might be wyvern. But other than just worried about him the whole game, and I really would much rather find him early and get blarged than have to just constantly be worried. Yeah, it felt like a clean seed to me, and that's pretty rare for me.
You got to do that single dip Babel, right?
Yeah, that was lovely.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I was setting it up as a double dip, and the single dip just happened. The only other fight I felt was a little sketch was that D-Lunar fight.
Yeah, that was a little dicey. Not sure what happened on the first breath there. Did you have the Star Veil up, but it just didn't hit?
No, I didn't have a Star Veil up at that point.
Oh.
It's just a low magic spot, so breaths aren't likely to hit much.
Oh, okay. I actually don't think I knew that, or never thought about it.
Well, that's why I originally tried attacking, because I was like, it's a low magic spot. The virus isn't going to do that much. Does enough. Enough.
Does enough, yeah. Virus is a spell that hits pretty hard no matter where it's at.
So yeah, I just switched it over. I said, you know what? If I'm not taking viruses, I can do this. And I honestly kind of forgot that breath existed.
Again, as I've said plenty of times, we've all done that. Until I sat down and properly learned the script, I was always terrified. And then I'm like, right, I just have to survive through this many punches? Okay, we're good.
I see that Technolink is about to finish. This fight looks very familiar. So I guess I'll begin on my way. But once again, thank you for doing the restream. Particularly thank you, given how much of a headache I know this was to start off. So I appreciate Alchemy for all her effort. I appreciate Zoe for tracking, and I definitely appreciate Zoe's not tracking.
Dravenheart's tracking.
Sorry, Dravenheart for tracking. Zoe Stone Dingley for commentating.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for racing. And before we let you go, I know y'all just alluded to it, but when's your next race?
Tomorrow against Stone Dingley at 4 o'clock? Yeah, 4 o'clock.
It's going to be a good one. I wish you a certain amount of luck.
It'll be an exciting one to watch. I'm sure I'll be tuning in. But thank you so much, and GG's once again.
Thank you.
And that was FirebirdLover, our winner of today's restream. First restream of the day. We actually have more coming up, and I'll get to those in just a moment. But before I do that, if you enjoyed this race, make sure you give both of our runners a follow. FirebirdLover and Technolink, both fantastic runners of this game. As we can see, Technolink has just finished, and that is with a final time of 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 8 seconds. So GG's to Technolink. We will see about getting an interview with him as well. And while we wait for that, whether or not he will be joining us, we have the restream schedule for the rest of the day. 7 p.m. over on Free Enterprise 2. Yes, we have a Free Enterprise 2. That'll be Possumorpheus versus Funnel Cakes. 8 p.m. All these times are Eastern. Loof versus Stoppable Force. Restream on RPG Limit Break. 8 p.m. at the same time as that race. Fly Eagles Fly 72 versus Angie Dave. Restream here on twitch.tv/Free Enterprise. And 11:30 p.m. Blue Cat Loach versus Frankie Bones. Back over on Free Enterprise 2. So that is 4 more restreams for you today. So make sure you drink a lot of water. You're going to watch them all because that is a marathon at Free Enterprise. But welcome in Technolink. GG's.
Yeah, GG's. Also to FirebirdLover. Very well played. I saw him finish. I was like, I did something wrong. But, by the way, do you know that the Dark Imps are vulnerable to stone?
Yes, that is is true. But overall, like watching you play this seed, there's not much I would say you did wrong. So obviously, with the way that things laid out, skipping Sealed Cave was the play. I saw your little kind of wiggle of frustration there when you did that, but it's a calculated gamble. You know, sometimes it just doesn't pay off. Overall, you played this seed very, very well. 2 hours and 7 minutes. You cleared every key atom location. That is an admirable time.
Yeah, it was it was definitely a gamble. I mean, you had 6 items on the moon. I still needed to get the Sand Ruby, I think, at that point, and the Adamant. So whatever I got from Sealed Cave would mean it's only 1 key item. It can't lead to anything, so there was more chances of it being on the moon. So I decided, well, let's not do Sealed Cave. Plus, the moon gives you, like I said, gives you those 6 chances. It felt like the right decision at the time, but that's how it rolls sometimes. And yeah, I feel like there were some moments where I was doing some not so smart things, like not equipping adamant armor. I mean, there's a reason why it's called the Adamant Cup.
It happens. Trust me, I had a Z fight the other day in practice where I just completely forgot to equip my adamant armor going in. So happens to the best of us. Don't worry about it. You'll you can take that and learn from it. But you know, 1 loss doesn't get you out of this. It's still early in the tournament. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. It's how it is. That's all I can say about it. You win, you lose. In the end, I was having a lot of fun with the flags. I did a few practice seeds, but yeah, the problem is also I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster, so I was looking for break, not stone. Back with Dark Imps.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. Well, I, at this point, am out of questions, and my cold is really fighting me. So I'm going to leave the rest of the mic up to Stone Dingley. So thank you all so much for coming out to this restream. Make sure you follow Free Enterprise 2, and GG's once again, Technolink.
And a round of virtual applause for Zoe Vermillion. Her performance was excellent, as always, and we are getting... He does so much work for the community on this randomizer. Hope he feels better soon. And Technolink, is there anything else that you were thinking about the seed?
No, not really. There was a possibility of going underground earlier, I guess. But I decided to first get some more experience, make sure that I can actually clear the bosses. And also finding Oko Pogo at Dwarf Castle when I wasn't fully prepared for it was not really one of my favorite encounters, let's put it like that. I also decided not to go to things like Eblin or look in Sylph Cave or Feymarch for some good items, because, well, at a certain point, the time that you take checking those feels way too high in comparison to just keep going, follow the key items, I should say.
And I should also say that even though considering, making that you thought you made mistakes, the real big time difference was just what you decided to fade, whereas your opponent faded music and you faded Luca. But if it had been the other way around, you actually had the more efficient moon play because you went top down the whole way. You would have found that Crystal Sword altar a little quicker. So it was actually astonishingly close, except for just that one decision of what to fade, which is, again, just a crapshoot.
Yeah, that's how it goes. You make the percentage play. But yeah, again, GG to FirebirdLover. It was a good race, and well, I'm looking forward to the next race. Speaking of which, I think we need to schedule one.
That is true. I am free on Thursday if you want to figure something out there, but we'll take it to the Karate Gi channel.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much for racing for us today. It was an excellent show. I am looking forward to both watching and competing with you.
Same here, and yeah, again, thanks to the staff for making this possible.
Yes, and thanks to everybody. Again, thanks to Zoe, thanks to Dravenheart on tracking, thanks to Alchemy on Restream, and thanks to all of the many, many people who helped get all of the technical difficulties figured out. Despite Discord going down, despite audio issues, it turned out amazing. So again, thank you to everybody. This is an amazing community, and I don't have all of the future restreams off the top of my head, but be sure to either check Discord or our new Free Enterprise 2 channel that is finally getting some use this tournament. That is where we will be streaming a lot of our races. So Free Enterprise 1, Free Enterprise 2, and RPG Limit Break. Check those later in the day. We should have some more fun for you guys. And thank you very much for watching. I hope everyone has a good day.